Welcome to Dharma Grooves. My name is Michael Erlewine. In this short segment, we're going to talk about how I managed to was taught meditation by the Venerable Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche way back in 1974. I had played around with meditation for a long time. Was teaching it to myself, of course. And of course, I had no idea what it really was. You might like to know how I learned to meditate. And it's kind of a fun story. It was in 1974, and I had been trying to teach myself meditation, which was kind of a comedy of errors. And I'd been reading a book by this young Tibetan who was actually my age, who had escaped from Tibet. His name was Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche. And lo and behold, I found he was coming to Ann Arbor. And so I wanted to attend. And so I called the people that were putting it on at the University of Michigan, found out that really no one knew about it, and that I ended up being his chauffeur, Trungpa's chauffeur, and also doing the poster, which I'll show you an image of here, for his talk. Anyway, the day of his arrival came, and I went to the airport to get him. I was very enthused, right? This is really something. And I stood at the jetway, waited for people to get off, and it seemed like everybody got off. And then finally there's this one very short Tibetan man coming, and obviously this was Trungpa. And I waved to him, and he walked right up to me, seemed very close, looked me right in the eyes, and I saw that his eyes were all yellow, like he was extremely tired. He didn't look very well. And he rolled his eyes up to the top of his head till I couldn't see the pupils anymore, which was pretty unsettling on its own self. And when he rolled the eyes back down, they were crystal clear. That was how I met Trungpa. And he was very, very friendly. And we drove back to the professor's house, and I carried in the luggage. And I kind of was probably supposed to leave, and there was a small group of university-type people there, and I was standing along the wall, just taking it in. I didn't really want to go because I was fascinated by this man. And suddenly they were all going to leave and go on a tour of the university. And so I stood back to let them leave, and then Trungpa announced that he wasn't going, that he needed to rest. And so everyone left, and I was the last one out. And as I started to leave, he said, "Michael, you stay." Because this surprised me, and he says, "Come with me." And we went into a little office, and he had me sit down on a chair in the middle of this small office. And the office had shelves and shelves of knickknacks and little things. And Trungpa went around and looked at every last thing. And I don't mean he just panned them. He picked everything, each little item up, and looked at it, held it up, peered at it. And I just kind of sat there holding my breath. Finally, he got around to me, and he began to instruct me in meditation. But he neglected to tell me what he was doing. And I had no idea that this was meditation. This is not what I was doing, just kind of sitting in a corner. And it was an amazing experience. And, I'll spare you all of the details, but one of the things I think that was really interesting for me was that I had trouble, and he was showing me how to follow my breath. I would breathe in, and then I would breathe back out. And he was instructing me. And he pointed out that I was having trouble letting go, breathing out. And so I would sit there. Of course, I'm super nervous. And I would sit there and try to breathe out, and then breathe in. And then finally he said to me, it's one of those things that rang through my head at many levels, is let the breath out, let it go all the way out. Don't worry about it. It will come back. And when he said that, like all of my fears of dying, of impermanence, kind of rose into my mind and kind of evaporated. And I can't say I'm thrilled about dying, but ever since that time, I've never had the same kind of thoughts about it. So that I was learning how to meditate, but I was learning something more deeply as well. And I think that's just a fun story.